My conversation with Chelsea Manning, the former Army intelligence analyst who leaked more than 700,000 classified documents in 2010 to WikiLeaks about the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. After spending 7 years in prison, her sentence was commuted by former President Obama in 2017, and she's now out with a new book, README.txt, referring to the name of the file she uploaded to WikiLeaks, making the military secrets public. I sat down with her to discuss the disclosure and what led her to that point and her journey to find her sexual and gender identity. A number of people are going to say, I already know who Chelsea Manning is, and, she leaked classified documents, and they feel some kind of way about that.
It's the biggest leak in U.S. military history.
Their names, their operations.
It is an attack on the international community.
Right. And so what would you say to those critics? Why should they take the time and money to actually read your story?
I think that my voice and my sort of experience taken as a whole has been left out of this story. Everybody's been sort of treating me as an enigma, but I'm here, right? And so I'm just trying to tell my story. I'm a little late to the show, but I wanted to do this.
And you're only 34, so you've made it clear this is not a memoir, but really a coming-of-age story. Talk to us about, you describe a really tumultuous childhood of both of your parents being alcoholics, your mom trying to commit suicide, the divorce, you facing homelessness at a really early age. How did that all shape who you have become?
It shaped all of me. Any one of those experiences would have been different and it wouldn't be me, right? So, I did have a difficult upbringing. I mean, there were good times as well. But yeah, I felt, and I still feel to this day, like I was, I always felt underappreciated by my father, and I always wanted to just get my father to say, I appreciate you, I love you, I am proud of you, because it always felt like nothing was good enough for him.
You talk about, though, in the book how your dad seemed to be proud of you when you joined the military.
Yes.
And your sister, conversely, you write, she told me I was a dumbass making a stupid, impulsive move, and that no matter how talented I was, there was no way I'd fit into the culture of the Army. How did you make that decision, going from just kind of starting to explore gay clubs at the time, and then joining the military during the height of the Iraq War, during Don't Ask, Don't Tell?
I wanted to rekindle the relationship with my father. He kicked me out of the house in 2006, and he had remarried, and but I felt like there was unfinished business. I think I was also I was genuinely looking for some way of fitting in the world, of having stability, and my father kept pitching stability and structure. But through all, in all of this, it was really just, I wanted to feel like I could make a mark on the world and not just be struggling to stay afloat.
Some people are going to hear you say that and say, that's what this is about. You wanted to make your mark on the world. What would you say that really led you that day to decide to upload more than 700,000 classified documents?
Right. By the time I got into Iraq in 2010, or in 2009 we deployed, and by 2010, that was when I started to make these decisions, I had become very professional. I had this sense of purpose and this sense of I can do something and I can be a part of something bigger, and then have that, be having this cognitive dissonance between something that I believe in and really have invested an enormous amount of time and energy into, be contradicted by the realities on the ground.
Come on.
What is the truth that you wanted Americans to know?
That the sanitized version of the Iraq War up to this point, this discourse had started to be sanitized again and started to be glossed over again. These cycles of retribution, of death and destruction, of brutality, and not having the public not having any full understanding of this. I wanted to make that available. I wanted that discussion to happen.
Well, you write, it's not possible to work in intelligence and not to imagine disclosing the many secrets you bear. So,
yes, I would agree with that.
on the flip side, though, there are thousands of people who've had a similar occupation and they didn't disclose classified information.
But they thought about it.
You think so?
I know so.
What kept them from doing it?
Well, probably the same reason why I hesitated, which is, an opportunity, a career. Being in the military and being in intelligence in itself is a lifestyle. It's not just a career. So in addition to losing your career, you get court-martialed and sentenced to 35 years, which was actually the harshest sentence for anyone who'd ever leak classified documents. During all of this time, you're also struggling with your gender identity, your sexual identity. And so even on that day in the bookstore when you're uploading the documents, you take a picture of yourself with a wig and makeup. Right. And you write about gender dysphoria, and you say that it was like a toothache that never goes away. You're not always consciously thinking about it, but it's this persistent thing that you can't totally shake that keeps holding you back. When was the first time that you thought about changing your gender? Yeah, I didn't realize it was an option until my 20s, right? I didn't realize that you could seek access to care, that you could get hormone treatment, that you could get therapy, that you could, that surgical options were available. I just didn't realize that, even though I knew something was, I knew I was different at a very young age. It wasn't until I was in the military, and I'd been in the military for a few years. By the time I was deployed to Iraq, I knew for certain that I needed to transition, that this is the path that I need to take in order to survive. And I'd like to read the book dedication. It says, this book is dedicated to the brave trans kids who struggle to live as themselves in a hostile world. You make me proud. Yes. What is your message beyond that to trans kids right now who are struggling and feeling uncomfortable perhaps in their own skin? I went through that experience as a kid. I know what you're going through very deeply. And I'm thankful that kids are able to even know this kind of information, because I didn't when I was that age. And I just needed somebody to tell me that I was loved and appreciated for who I am. And that's all I want to say to them, is that you are loved, you are appreciated, and that there is a community. And we had a progressive moment in the last decade where we've been able to make advances and find ourselves and find our community. We may lose some of that in the next few years, and that's unfortunate, but also we're survivors and we can make it through. I've seen resiliency and survivability and solidarity. Many of these laws that have popped up and these quote-unquote debates that have popped up are going to roll back some of the progress of the last decade. That's not the end of the story. Our thanks to Chelsea for that conversation.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.